business in the NFL. And I'm saying that respectfully. So good as he's playing. I guess we'll have.
Yo, football fans, the crew back together. Open Sports Mic Weekly. We talk all things NFL Week 15, college football playoff. We might get into describing our teams, whether we're good, bad, and ugly. And I'm gonna ask these guys about 7 quarterbacks tonight. But down below me, we've got Ken the Bear fan, although he's going by a different Twitter handle because his is not functioning right now.
Monetized.
Next to him, we've got Charles, Ravens fan, and above him, we've got the guy who's going to pay for Josh Allen and Haley Steinfeld's baby shower. That'd be Jamie.
Oh man, I'm honored, Dylan. Didn't know I had that title. I'd love to do that.
And then yours truly being the Jag fan. So, you know what all 4 of our teams have in common this weekend? Jags, Bears, Bills, Ravens.
Victroy.
W, baby.
Yes.
Or as your former coach, Gus Bradley, used to do, we believe in victory.
And, you know, I must say, Charles, we're going to start with you because I thought Cincinnati had a great chance to beat your Ravens, and my goodness, the Bengals completely no-showed against you both, 24-0, and didn't even feel that close. Joe Burrow with an awful pick 6. I mean, was that the most Bengal-like performance we've ever seen?
I thought that was the best the Ravens defense looked all season in the last couple seasons. I think it might have saved Zach Orr's job. I thought the pass rush was finally getting home for the first time in a long time. Mike Green looked really good. I thought the defense looked really good as a whole. And the Bengals, man, there's something wrong. And I mean, they're talking about firing Zach Taylor, but they just don't have it, man. They just don't have a complete team at all. The Bengals, they just don't have it.
Is it a situation in Cincinnati where Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins are having to do too much? And if Joe Burrow has got a bad afternoon going, the defense / running game cannot save him.
I think Burrow's got to stay on the field. The offensive line isn't that bad this year. I mean, it's not great, but it's not like teams win with a line as good as that they have right now. But the defense is just awful. They just can't ever get it together. And their offense is always getting these injuries. They haven't had Chase, Higgins on the field, I think, but one game all year long. That ain't going to work, especially when you don't have tight ends. Your offensive, your interior guards aren't any good. And I think they need a new coach. I mean, they just do. I mean, I mean, it's just not working. Zach Taylor's just not getting the guys on the field, or something's wrong there.
I think the Bengals need a new owner because right now the owner they've got is way too cheap.
The owner crap. I'm sorry. I'm going to push back on this. I hate the owner argument. The owner argument's the worst argument in football. Well, if they had a new owner, things would be much better. Well, why would it be much better? Because they'd hire a different GM and a different head coach. Great. So then fire the GM and head coach and just hire GM and head coach. Because this whole thing in the NFL, like, the owner's too cheap. This isn't the Tribune Company. This isn't Major League Baseball. Yeah, they can be cheap for a season, but then the NFLPA agreement dictates they have to spend X amount of dollars. NFL franchises spend their money. So the new owner argument is kind of There are a few cases where you say, yeah, but look at Jerry Jones. Okay, Jerry Jones is also the GM. If your owner is not the GM, then the argument kind of falls flat. And Go Pack Go says it. Packers are owned by many people, right? It's the president of operations and the GM for the Packers. And if things are going wrong, guess what? The board fires the president of operations. They fire the GM, and they go on. And honestly, Gutekunst was probably going to get fired until he made the trade for Micah Parsons, which probably saved his job in Green Bay this year. So if you look at Cincinnati, what's their issue? The GM. The GM does not draft offensive line, does not draft the defense. Yeah, he's great. He can get you good wide receivers and a quarterback and a tight end and a running back. Cool. But if you're not building the trenches and you're not building a defense, Joe Burrow has the most games in the NFL over the last 2 years of scoring 30-plus points and losing. The GM is the problem.
Yeah, and
I think your GM argument is the wrong argument when you're talking about Green Bay. That's the opposite for the opposite, because there's no owner in Green Bay. The city owns the team.
There is not an owner in a traditional sense of an Irsay or a Joe. There's a board of directors. You got the president of the board of directors, and then you get Gutekunst. So the hierarchy is a little bit different. If Gutekunst, let's say, doesn't make the trade this year, and the Packers probably aren't where they're at, and let's say there's going to be a change, and the president of operations, he can be fired by the board, which is AKA an owner. So the board meddles just as much as an owner like Jerry Jones does, just in a different way. Because the board can come in and say, we're going to fire the president of operations, we're going to fire the GM, and we're going to hire all new people. The board can do that whenever it wants, just like an owner can. It's just with a single owner, it's centralized. With the board, it's decentralized. That's the most significant difference. And any team that has an owner like the McCaskies or the Hunt family, they can be highly involved in the team or not as involved in football operations. So if you look at the Packers ownership, the board, there is much involved in football operations as right now the McCaskey family is. And that is to say none. The president of operations and the GM, they're the ones who handle football operations. So, if we just got rid of the owner, is always a bad argument to me, unless your owner is also the GM, like maybe Jerry is, or like Al used to be for the Raiders. Like, then you could say, okay, maybe not, we need a new owner. Maybe more or less the owner needs to fire himself as a GM and hire a real one.
Most of your owners are like business people. They just pay the bills. That's all they do.
But I don't think you guys are not right about that. These guys are way more involved in it. And the Gutekunst, you're right about him being fired. That's correct. This process of him, if he's not getting it done, that's absolutely right. But Gutekunst has full control of the day-to-day without any real pushback about anything but money more than anybody else. I don't think he gets.
He's got a president of operations he's got the president of operations that he reports to. So he does have a direct boss who can at any moment in time say, no, you're not spending that money on that player. Trust me, before Gutekunst made that trade, he got approval from his boss. And his boss has a board of directors he answers to. It's different than a single ownership situation, but not much different than, let's say, what's going on in Tampa Bay with that family. You have 7 siblings that run that organization. Now, one of them is like the Ricketts family is designated the head of operations for football there. Okay. But it's still a committee of 7 siblings in Tampa. With the Irsays, it's the 3 sisters. Now, there's one sibling who's in charge more so than the others, right? But Green Bay has a board of directors. And that board of directors has a president of operations who tells Gutekunst, you can't do that, or yeah, go ahead. So you're partially right and partially wrong. Gutekunst does have a direct boss that could tell him, nope, you're not doing that. He does. but he answers to the board of directors, much like Ryan Poles answers to Warren, who answers to the ownership. It looks a little different. That's all.
I will say this with the Bears. For whatever reason, the Bears have been too cheap a head coach. This year, they went after the guy Ben Johnson, and you could argue Ben Johnson the coach of the year candidate. I mean,
Matt Nagy was the belle of the ball when he was hired. John Fox was a great football coach when we hired him. The Trestman had just won a Gray Bowl when we hired him. It's not the Bears have been cheap. It's just that the Bears haven't had a good combination of head coach / coordinators / GM all at the same time. This year,
and quarterback.
Right. Well, no, because that's not necessarily true either, because Jay Cutler was a good quarterback for the Bears during that stretch of period. We just like Mike Martz was not the GM for Cutler with Lovie Smith as the head coach, because Mike Martz's greatest show on turf did not work in Chicago because he didn't have the personnel group to protect the quarterback or the receiver core to do what he needed it to do. And he hated the tight end. That's why Greg Olson was unceremoniously shipped out of Chicago. Right. So there's combinations of why things work and don't work in any city. Like, why does Harbaugh work in Baltimore? Because him and the GM are linked, and he's always had good coaches in his organization. And for the most part, it's worked well. It's a combination. It's not like you get a head coach like Nagy was not a good head coach in of himself when he was the belle of the ball. Look at the organization he came from. He came to Chicago with Ryan Pace, who's a questionable GM. He's had some hits and misses everywhere he's gone. But look at the rest of Nagy's coaching staff.
But
Coach and GM, I'll give you that one argument because that's very, very important. I think it's fascinating that John Harbaugh, as long as he's been a Ravens coach, has never asked for more GM power. Why? He already has it. He has all he wants, right? He can pick what he wants, do what he wants.
Good coaches and GMs, you're right, Charles. You're so right.
The Costa take the heat, etc. If it doesn't go, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. He already has pretty much the same deal in Pittsburgh. Tomlin has as much GM power really as he will. He doesn't need the title. I'm sorry, Greg.
And look, a good coach GM combination like that, like, people say, well, Ben Johnson had a lot to do with the Bears draft. Well, sure, because every head coach has a lot to do with the draft, because you go to the GM and say, these are the position groups I want. Here's what I want you to target. Sometimes they have specific players in mind. Sometimes they don't, right? I mean, there's always a good relationship with a GM and a coach when they're in sync. The the head coach, Harbaugh, goes to his GM, says, this is what I want. And in his case, he has players in mind, and the GM goes out and gets them. And if it doesn't go good, he just blames the GM. It works beautifully.
Hey, Ken, the Bear fan, back to the point. Looking at the Bears this week in 131-3, Caleb very efficient. Offense, very few penalties, no turnovers, and what could have been a trap game with two Green Bay games. But with Green Bay now going into Soldier Field this weekend, a couple of physically emotional games, and now Green Bay hurting with no Micah Parsons.
Well, they're missing
Christian Watson and a few other guys.
Was that Tom?
Am I crazy for saying this? But could the Chicago Bears win the NFC North for the first time since Mitchell Trubisky and Matt Nagy?
Yeah, in 2018, like show me your dishwater. The Bears aren't a good football team. Okay, that's why they're in first place in the division with 10 wins and currently the number 2 seed. Yeah, they're a bad football team. I love Packers and Lions fans, especially Lions fans who basically get eliminated this week once the Steelers beat them and the Bears win.
They're so bitter about Ben Johnson.
Oh, they are. They're so bitter. And Packer fans still live in this world. And I get it. You were the best of the worst for like almost 3 decades, and the Bears and the Vikings would once in a while pop up, win a division and whatever. I get it. What I'm more distraught about this week for Saturday's game is Vegas, because like you said it, Dylan. No Micah Parsons, no Christian Watson, no Zach Tom. The game is in Chicago. Guess what the line is? Packers by 1.5. I mean, really, we're getting disrespected by Vegas that much? That last game came down to the final play of the game, which was what it was, but it wasn't like, I mean, are you kidding me? And now you're taking out the best pass rusher in football, or one of the best pass rushers in football. Their offensive line, which was already in turmoil, is even more in turmoil now. And you take out their best receiver. And by the way, they're not doing too well at the tight end position either as Green Bay now, because their tight end, the one they did have, got a little nicked up in the Denver game. So I have no doubt that the Packers are going to change their strategy because they have to. But the problem is, I don't care who your next man up is, your next man up attitude is. It doesn't matter. They're not nearly as good as Micah Parsons. And oh, by the way, you have no big guy like Kenny Clark in the middle because you traded him away. And your big rusher that was supposed to be back your other rusher isn't back. What kills me about this weekend is pack all day, go Pack, go all day. He's correct. You would think the Bears are favored at home on Saturday against the Packers. They're not. They're the dog again. And here's a more interesting piece that we went over on the morning.
I'm going to agree with that. I'm going to agree with that. I'm going to agree with that. Without Parsons and Watson, I definitely agree with that.
Here's the craziest thing, Charles. Here's the craziest thing. The way it looks like it's going to pan out in the NFC, guess what's going to happen on Wild Card Weekend? The Bears are going to play the Packers for the third time in 6 weeks at home again. If somehow the only other scenario that could make it different is even worse than that one. If the Packers lose out and the Lions get in as a 7 seed, the Bears will play the Lions at home in Week 18, and the Lions will not even go back to Detroit because they'll play the Bears this very next week in the wild card round in Chicago again. They'll play back-to-back weeks.
And the Lions would be playing in that cold weather too, which is different than if that game was in Detroit.
Right. Well, maybe it's just the fact that I mean, no one who in the NFL wants to see the same teams play in Week 18 and Week 1 of the playoffs.
Apparently, Lovie Smith didn't want to see the Packers 15 years ago. That's why he played.
2010, yeah, we let them win. What was that, Week 16 or whatever, the final week game of the season, and they come back and beat us in the NFC Championship. I mean, that's why I hate about playing teams so close together. Now look at the Packers got hot at the right time in 2010. They deserved to win that. The Bears, Cutler get hurt. I don't know if that changes the game in the second half if he could play, but I'm sorry, my Edgerrin Cooper is not.
He's not Micah.
Come on, brother. It's not Micah. And
Watson might play. No way. I don't think so.
Even if he plays,
I'd be surprised.
Even if he plays, I mean, the fact that Vegas is still giving him 1.5 is just like total disrespect. Chicago. And then, now, on the other hand, though, for as mad as I am about it right now, on the other hand, it's like, fine, do that. That's bulletin board material. Because every week of this season, everyone in the North, the Bears can't win. Even last week, all the Packers, most of the Packers and Lions fans were picking, you ready for this one? The Browns to beat the Bears. And in some cases, some Packer fans had the Browns winning by 2 scores. So please keep telling Chicago that we can't win. Keep telling Chicago that we're not good. Keep telling us that we're not a contender for the division to be in the playoffs or even to win the Super Bowl. Please keep telling Chicago that, because every week they come out, they prove you wrong.
Jamie, Jamie, maybe the Bills should start down 21-0 every single week, because it seems like the Bills do pretty well. Of course, number 17 is not half bad. Bills win another shootout. Surprise. To me, what I saw in that game was that one team had an amazing quarterback, and the Patriots, well, New England feels like they're a year away. Did that seem true to you?
Yeah, especially with the fact that Drake May only had 155 yards passing, but he got bailed out by Trayvon Henderson, who I think I would put him up. I hate to do this as a Bills fan, but you want to be impartial when you do the NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year candidates. I would definitely not put him in for an Offensive Rookie of the Year candidate. That guy, that touchdown he had in the fourth quarter where it looked like he ran to the right, and it looked like the Bills had they had the entire hole covered, and it looked like he was going to stop him. Goes to the left on the outside, bam, and he's gone. Like, what's funny about that? I call that a college touchdown, because those are touchdowns that, like, usually you can get away with in college. You don't usually see a touchdown like that in the NFL, because in the NFL you got to follow your blocks more. And I just thought that was amazing that he pulled off a college touchdown like that as a rookie.
Hey, Jamie, you know what's amazing to me? Speaking of your game with New England gets all this love and adoration about how great they are. If you look at New England's schedule and the Bears' schedule, guess who had the easier schedule by record this year?
New England?
Yeah. And New England's like this phenomenal football team that's destined to go to the Super Bowl this year. Now, look, I picked the Bills to win this year. Superman came back. I thought, when I looked at my fantasy team, I'm like, because I have a certain quarterback and running back from Buffalo on my team, I'm like, oh, what the hell? Is this going to be a long day? And then by the second half, I'm like, okay. I mean, Buffalo is starting to get hot at the right time. And this was a huge game for them. But I don't get the love in that division that everyone has for New England.
Because we talked about it at the beginning. We talk about this all the time, Ken. You and I talked about this. It's like, because we live in this world now of, like, instant gratification. And it's like, they sucked last year, and because they brought in Mike Vrabel and they turned it around in a year, which most coaches are lucky to, other than Ben Johnson, most first-year coaches do not have most first-year coaches do not always have those type of first years. Those are anomalies, because look at Dan Campbell and Aaron Glenn in their first years.
Yeah, but look at Jacksonville.
That usually happens more.
I mean, Jamie, I agree with you, but I mean, I hate to be a new head coach next year for a first-year head coach. Yeah, Dylan. I mean, look at Dylan's team. You have 3 first-year head coaches who are killing it. Like,
that doesn't usually happen, the first year.
But the Bears of all 3 teams get shit on as being like, oh, the Bears are just, whatever. They're underdogs. Look at Drake May is this awesome guy, and the Pats are this awesome team, and then no one even says anything about the Jags, right? They just kind of like completely forgot, and the Bears, they just suck. They got lucky. Really? I mean, come on.
Hey, by the way, Ken, I'm glad you mentioned the Jags, because it seems like nobody else does. But
they get forgotten. That's the first-year head coach.
Let's see. Let me see. My math's probably better than most of you, but Trevor Lawrence had, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 passing touchdowns and a rushing touchdown. I don't know.
And no one said
that was an NFL record. That was an NFL record.
Yeah, and no one said anything about it for the most part. It was like a footnote.
I mean, true, it was against the Jets, but you know what? 6 touchdowns.
Yeah, the Bears blow out. The Bears blow out the Browns, the team the Packers lost to, right? The Bears blew out Dallas, a team the Packers tied. Now, sure, the Packers beat the Bears 2 weeks ago in a very close game, yet the Bears are dogs, and they get no credit for their win against the Eagles, because after we beat the Eagles, everyone tried to discount that, saying it was because of X, Y, or Z reason. We blow out a Browns team that we should blow out. Once again, we get no credit because, it's Shador. Well, wait a minute. You were coming into the game saying Shador was this awesome quarterback and going to do these things against the Bears, blah, blah, blah. So when the Bears win, no credit. But when Drake May and the Pats win, oh, my freaking Lord, the Messiah is here. Stop everything. And when Jacksonville wins, it's this. No, I mean, because, Trevor was okay 3 years ago, remember. But I'm like, this is what I hate about NFL media. It's like the Jags. If I'm a Jags fan, I'm pissed. I'm disrespected. My quarterback sets an NFL record, you don't say shit. If I'm Chicago, I'm mad because you keep disrespecting this team, telling them how they're dog shit, and they're always, the underdog, and they haven't done anything. And then if you're New England, you're feeling great, but you're fraud because you've had the easiest record of all 3 teams.
I wouldn't go that far. That's farther than I go. Fraud, come on.
No, they're not.
That's farther than I go.
Well, they're not frauds in that greater sense. Of the three teams, though, they're more fraudulent. They've had the easiest record. They've given up the biggest leads in their losses. Like, yeah, great, you beat Buffalo first time around, great, but this week you blew
and that still came down to a game-winning field goal. It was 23-20, too.
Yeah.
First Buffalo.
New England basically won that game for 3 quarters, and that doesn't count. But Buffalo really look. That told me more about what Josh Allen is. Josh Allen is a thoroughbred. He's on the field, you got a chance. That's what happened to New England. I don't think any really differently about New England in terms like that. There are questions because I haven't been there in so long. I understand that.
I feel like in a way with New England,
we just play everybody eats football. That's what we do. Where
everybody feel like in a way
everybody gets a shot everybody gets an equal slice of the pie. That's how we play.
I feel like in a way with New England, the Patriots, all who we thought they were. I mean, they feel like a year away. We know Vrabel, Drake May, Henderson. New England's got to get another weapon on offense. Probably need another lineman or two on both sides of the ball, and another corner opposite Christian Gonzalez.
Look, why are they a year away? Why does everybody keep saying that? This AFC is not.
I understand.
They haven't done it yet. I mean, obviously they won 20 years with Brady, but like even though they were 4-13, that's great. They're still not technically one of those teams because they haven't done it.
Look, I'm not going to stay there a year away, Charles, because they're going to get to the playoffs. So that means they're there now. I don't get this whole argument of Super Bowl ready. If you're in the playoffs, you're Super Bowl ready because guess what? You're one of 14 teams in the playoff, right? I mean, you're Super Bowl ready. If you get in, you're Super Bowl ready. You have a shot. Now maybe there's varying degrees of Super Bowl ready, right? But when it comes terms to, I don't get that argument either. But look, you're a 3-point favorite at home this week against them. If the Ravens come out and just, let's say it's a 2-score game, the Ravens win, I would not be shocked. Because I think the Ravens are a much better football team than New England is overall. New England's been coached well. They got some good young talent. They've played crap teams. The Ravens had a crap start. With injuries, took them a minute to get it together. They did have, as most teams do, they had a misstep, right? The Bears have had a misstep or two in the last 8-10 games. I mean, those things happen in the NFL. There are those blips in the road, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Ravens win by a good, by 2 scores. That's a 9-point game or something. Because for me, New England, they just, when they play the better teams, they have a harder time. They're not built to that point yet with the backups, where they can rotate people through and keep people fresh, so they're going to get wore down fast. I think that's their biggest problem.
You look at the AFC. How many quarterbacks now are we going to have this year that have won a Super Bowl out of all the teams? I mean, the only one is Aaron Rodgers that might be there. Like if Pittsburgh gets in. So yeah, you got Bo Nix never won one. Drake Mays never won one. Trevor Lawrence has never won one. Lamar's never won one. Who is that? Phillip Rivers. For God's sake, if they get it.
Well, look at the NFC. You've only got Jalen, and you've got Stafford, and that's it.
Josh Allen's been there a couple times.
He's never won one, but he's the most experienced QB of the Mahomes and the Lamars.
It might be good. By the way, we're 29 minutes into the stream, and you know what who we haven't mentioned yet? Patrick Mahomes and his torn ACL. And you know what that means for the Chiefs this year? No playoffs.
Well, no playoffs.
Great run.
They don't make the playoffs next year either.
Great.
Travis Kelce retires.
Yeah.
He puts a baby in that. He puts a bun in that oven really quick because he's about to marry a billionaire. And guess what?
He ain't living in the poorhouse either, though, Ken. You got to remember that.
Oh, yeah, he's not in the poorhouse either, but still, dude. Come on. I mean, come on.
You're going to get a job in one of these networks for sure. ESPN,
when you look, this is the question I posited on the morning show. Let me know what you guys think. For Mahomes and for Micah. Luckily for them, they're they're gonna have either they had surgery yesterday, today, or they're gonna have it tomorrow, depending on where they're doing. They're gonna have at least 7.5, almost 8 months of recovery before camp starts. I don't expect them. I expect both of them to be on the pup to start camp. However, is it possible that one of those two or both of them are back by camp 8 months out?
I think Pat Mahomes is starting week 1, 100%.
I'm not convinced of that. It depends also too if they think they can win a Super Bowl next year, and I'm not sure they think that. I don't think there's any reason to rush him if you know you're not going to contend.
What
and
about
I think
Micah?
that could be what they're thinking. Micah, I don't think he starts week 1. I'd be surprised. Defensive players, they're going to take a little bit longer than I think quarterbacks do.
So at what point of next season do you think we see Micah Parsons and Kermit the Frog come back?
They said Mahomes might miss part of 2026. I heard that on today. That might happen.
No, he's playing.
Wait, Micah's waiting until the childbirth of one of his kids to have surgery? Well, when's that going to happen? How long till she's due? If he waits another month, that's another month of the season he's missing. Like if you're the Packers, you're like, go have the surgery today. And like, unless she's due this week, blah, blah, blah. Because he can have surgery today here at the Andrews Institute. He can have it tomorrow on Wednesday, be home on Thursday or Friday. So like, when is she due? When's his wife due?
I don't know.
That seems weird.
I have no idea.
I love him.
I mean,
that seems weird that Micah would wait. That's just more time. So at what point do we see Micah, and at what point do we see Mahomes?
Well, it's not weird. It's not weird if your wife is 9 months pregnant. He's probably
like if she's due this week, I get it. But if she's not due for like until mid-January, why would you wait that long? Like she's got to be due almost like any day now.
I think Michael would be on the field within the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season. I think like
so
I'm just not convinced week 1 right away for that. Mahomes,
so
I don't know if
that puts his recovery at about 10 months.
Yeah.
About 10 months of recovery.
No, I haven't. No, I don't think he's got a baby. I don't think he's got a baby. Yeah, Paulson's got a youngin, like a 2-year-old, but that's it.
No, he's saying that Parsons' wife is due any day now. So he's not going to have his surgery on his knee until his wife gives his child.
It doesn't matter anyway. He'll be back. So
we're saying 10-month recovery time for both of them. About basically around week 5 or 6 is when they come back. It's around there for each of them.
I've got a question for you guys.
Yeah.
I'm gonna name a list of 10 quarterbacks. 5 AFC quarterbacks, 5 NFC quarterbacks. I'm not going to pick Matthew Stafford or Josh Allen because that would be too easy. I'm going to be strategic with my quarterback list.
MVP.
And I want you to give a yes or no answer to the question. Do you believe that the quarterback I'm naming can win a playoff game, a road playoff game, multiple playoff games, or Super Bowl? We'll start in the NFC with Caleb. I want you to say, can he win a playoff game, multiple playoff games, road playoff game, or Super Bowl? Bear fan.
Yes.
Okay. Charles.
You say Caleb? We're talking about Caleb in particular?
Yep.
I think Caleb could take his team to Super Bowl. I'm convinced of that. I don't think there's anything. Again, quarterbacks this year, there's nobody. Probably, I don't know if they beat the Rams, but they could.
Jamie.
They could take them.
Hey, why not? I think he could go all the way.
This feels like the craziest year. I mean, I think Caleb can I don't know if Caleb would necessarily be great in LA, but I think Caleb could definitely beat the 49ers. Heck, they play the 49ers next week. So we'll
The
see
thing
what
with
happens.
Caleb that's interesting, and if people look at his completion percentage, which then obviously affects his rating. The asterisk I want to put by that though is this: if you watch Caleb, over 50% of his incomplete passes are throwaways. So for me, overall, he's incredibly smart with the football.
Very few interceptions.
Yes, 6. And then look at the one against the Packers is still mind-boggling to me as it is to everyone else, and maybe even to Caleb at that point, like why he threw it that way. And he owned it, said I should have done a better job at leading, blah, blah, blah. Okay, all that aside.
I think he should have ran for it and picked up.
I honestly thought you weren't here last week, Jamie. I honestly thought he was going to run for the first down.
I did
the
too.
camera view on the TV, you didn't see what was going on in the end zone. And he goes to throw the ball, and the camera pans. I'm like, what the hell is going on? What the? I was like in shock. But I mean, Caleb, I think Caleb in the quarter, and not just Caleb, but other quarterbacks in this league right now. I think there's a good cause to redefine the way we look at some of these statistical numbers, because Caleb isn't the only one doing this. Okay, over about half his incomplete passes are throwaways. Like, we know that when a ball is obviously a throwaway, when Lamar Jackson puts it 20 rows into the seats, it's a throwaway. We know it's a throwaway. Why are we counting that as an incomplete pass? Well, what else are we supposed to call it? Call it what it is. We should track throwaways. I mean, honestly, they should track throwaways for quarterbacks. And you see it all the time where the guy throws it legitly at someone's feet. Like, and it was purpose. You could tell it's purposeful.
Tom Brady would throw.
Let's call it what it is, a throwaway. So Caleb's not the only one. But I think why some people maybe are still out is because they look at some of the statistics for some of these quarterbacks and go, yeah, but look at that completion percentage. Or but they don't. That's why I'm saying the completion percentage is not the whole story. It's a part of the story, and they really need to create a subcategory to incomplete passes, throwaways. And I think people will be shocked when you go to some of these quarterbacks and you see if you take throwaways out, the completion percentages for a lot of quarterbacks in this league go up 10, 20% easily.
Next quarterback on the list, Brock Purdy. So for this question, you think he can win a playoff game, multiple playoff games, a road playoff game, or maybe even reach the Super Bowl, which he's already played in one?
I must say he's already done all that. So yes, I mean my answer would be yes. He's already shown
this season.
Yeah, because if he's done it once, he can do it again. I mean, look at it. Dylan, here's the problem with the question. It's not the question is can Brock Purdy do it? The question is their defense going to hold up? Or were the injuries on that team? I mean, for each of these quarterbacks, like if you say in a vacuum, could Brock Purdy do this? Well, yes, he already has. So the answer has to be yes. He's already done
I say
it.
No. I say no.
He's
not healthy. He's not. I don't think we're looking at the same guy. That's why in his case I say no. He's not.
Okay.
I don't think
the same guy. I don't think he's been better lately, but that doesn't look like the same guy to me. So I say no.
I don't think Purdy and the Niners are healthy right now. I feel like San Francisco will get exposed the next couple of weeks. It's been a great story this year. I think Robert Saleh will get
duct tape and bubble gum, baby. I mean, that team is held together by duct tape and bubble gum.
But what do you say, Jamie? Are you with Bear fan or with Charles and me?
I think he'll win. I think he'll win a playoff game, but he might get exposed later on.
Ooh. All right. Quicker this time. Jordan Love.
We already know. I want to hear what Ken's going to say. Should he go first or last?
We know he can win a playoff game. He went to Dallas to win a playoff game, but Jordan Love himself, yeah, he could take the Packers to a Super Bowl, but the question there is, can the rest of that team go to the Super Bowl with them? And the answer is probably, without Micah, is no. Like, Jordan's a good quarterback. I mean, really, the difference between look at the difference between Jordan and Caleb statistically, like they both lead in almost equal amount of statistical categories. I mean, Jordan's a good quarterback. He plays good ball, but yeah, Jordan's capable of doing it. The question is, does he have the people around him to do it? And are the Packers going to do it? No, I don't think the Packers, as they are built right now with the injuries, are a Super Bowl are a team that's going to go to the Super Bowl or win a road game in Philadelphia or Chicago in the playoffs. But is Jordan Love capable of it? Yes, he is. The team, maybe not.
I would love Jordan Love if he could get Tucker Kraft, Michael Paulson, everybody back, but that's just me. Bryce Young.
Which Carolina team is going to show up? The one that beat the Rams and looks like they could take the division from the Tampa Bay Bucks, or the one that laid an egg against the Saints and basically still gave the Bucks a fighting chance, even though they're struggling.
I want to give the Saints some credit though, because the Saints have played some good ball the last 2 weeks, man.
They have though. They have Tyler Shuck.
Yeah.
Proven up. Tyler Shucks look good though.
Yeah, I mean, I think Bryce Young
this is a good one. This is a good one, Bryce Young, because they clearly, what they've done is take the ball out of his hands. They're not saying this, but I've watched them a couple times. They're just running every play. Like they are only throwing on third down, really, or if it's wide open or something like that. Otherwise, hand it to Hubbard, hand it to the other guy. I think that Rico. But I don't know about this one. I don't think you can go all the way.
I think he's still a year or two away from even winning a playoff game.
I think he's capable of winning a playoff game as long as he has Uncle Rico, because he has made some beautiful throws. Remember, he is a former number 1 overall draft pick. He's got some skill. He's been improving since the benching steadily.
Yes.
But I might be more inclined to agree with Charles this year. I mean, look, they're a great surprise this year. I mean, no one thought they'd be competing for this division like they are. The fact that they're a 7-win team right now is pretty good. They're about at I had them at about 7, maybe a 7-win. They're basically at my ceiling, what I had them at. So they're playing with house money right now, as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, I'm kind of with Charles on this one. As long as he's got Uncle Rico, I think he could win a playoff game, but I don't see him going. I don't see him as that lead you in the fourth quarter in a comeback, slinging the rock kind of guy. Yeah.
Here's what I do like about it, though. They seem to all be aware of it, and it's working.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're not asking him to do too much, and they're getting wins because he's playing within himself. He's playing within the system, and they say, okay, this is what we have to do, and that's what they're doing. And they're in the division, and like the Bucks are just totally just falling on their face right now.
Has he reached his ceiling?
It's working.
But Charles, let me ask you this: has he reached his ceiling, or do you think he's still got room to grow, or is he about growed out?
My concern with Bryce Young in the draft was his size, and that's a real thing. Like, I don't know, like, if he can. When he was in college, he was kind of with guys with real talent at Alabama. He had the best team, and he could kind of move around and make things happen. He had all those great receivers. Now he's in Carolina with the NFL, and he doesn't have all that, and it's a problem. He can't just always do that. He does it at times, but not enough to really be an upper echelon quarterback.
The fact that he's as durable as he's been, with the body of a 5'6" shooting guard, because we have another 5'6" shooting guard in this league who's been injured all year in Washington. Yeah, I kind of agree with you, man. He's got to bulk up a little bit.
Have you seen Bryce Young stand next to Dave Canales? I mean, they look like father and son, dude. Like the coach is give him credit. But it's also why it's cool, because I'm giving him credit because he's doing the best in this situation.
So his coaching walk up to who's your daddy?
Yeah.
And my last quarterback, Sam Darnold. I think Sam can win a road playoff game, but I have no idea. Maybe if Seattle wins this weekend, things will change. On Thursday. Yeah.
I have no faith in Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold is one of those guys. He's got to prove it. Like, look at last year with the Vikings, what he did. Similar kind of year he's having this year up there with the Sea Chickens. I have no faith in Sam Darnold winning anything until he shows me he can win the playoff game. And look at Seattle fans, you have all the right in the world to be mad at me for saying this. As much as I just rant about how the Bears get no respect. Sam Darnold deserves some respect, but man, when he's in tough games, it's not Darnold that pulls out the win. Like, Darnold is a good system quarterback in this league. He's got a great wide receiving core right now, with probably the best wide receiver currently in the league, or one of the best currently in the league. But he's prone to the turnovers with the pressure, and you're getting good defenses in the playoffs. Lucky for them, they're going to be on the road, it looks like, in the playoffs, where they seem to play better than they do at home. The 12th man has evaporated in Seattle. I have no faith in Sam Darnold winning a playoff game.
None. One more answer from you guys, please. Jamie and Charles.
How about multiple road playoff games, like Ken said, if they go on the road and
multiple games, then.
I'm just.
I say Super Bowl. I say Super Bowl. I think he certainly has that capability to take you all the way.
Super Bowl Sam, like soccer Sam, except Super Bowl Sam.
I like the way you're thinking, Charles. Okay, AFC. I want to be a little quick here. Bo Nix. Yes, because of Sean Payton. I think Bo could end up in the Super Bowl.
I think multiple playoff games.
I mean, they don't call him Mo Picks Knicks for nothing.
I say Super Bowl.
But yeah,
I think he can get to the Super Bowl. I don't know if he wins it.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I think he's capable of getting it.
Who am I gonna pick? CJ Stroud.
I would say Houston's defense, more Will Anderson Jr. more than CJ Stroud, because that offensive line is still freaking that offensive line is still stinky poo, man.
I don't know. CJ Stroud looked fine last week.
CJ Stroud in playoff games has historically not played well as a quarterback, but however, that defense is so damn good. It makes him look better. I don't know if they can get to a Super Bowl, but dude, if they're hot coming the playoffs, you don't want to play that defense. That defense is
exactly.
ridiculous.
Hey Josh, you mentioned
You
mentioned the next quarterback on my list, Aaron Rodgers.
Well, we already know Aaron can. He did it in 2010. Look what he did with the Packers, all road games to the Super Bowl, and then they won it. I mean, Aaron Rodgers, current, yeah, he's completely capable of getting him there. The question, though, once again, is what team is going to show up for the Steelers? Is it the team the Bears beat, or is it the team that's going to beat the Lions this week? I mean, they're an enigma. Not because of Rodgers himself. Sure, Rodgers has the capability.
I know what Adams would be saying. I don't care. Mike Thomas should be fired.
Yeah, that's the thing, though, Jamie. If they don't win a playoff game, if they get to the playoffs and lose, yeah, if they're one and done in the playoffs, how does Tomlin keep his job?
Bring in freaking Brian Flores, man. I mean, come on. He's a perfect guy for Pittsburgh.
I will say, Aaron has been better lately.
Yes.
If anybody's noticed, I thought his last 3 games has been really good.
That game last night.
Yeah.
No, Miami.
Hey, but remember, they got the first 300-pound tight end in the league, Darnell Washington.
And that DK Metcalf touchdown yesterday, that was nice. That was
By the
nice.
way,
They got Jadu Smith, the tight end, running out of the backfield. That was pretty cool.
By the way, Tua looked like a
Tomlin could coach. You could see the difference last night with the two teams. Tomlin could coach.
Well, yeah.
No question.
Tua looked like a frozen popsicle.
What has he ever not been? I mean, come on.
When he beat you guys in Miami.
I was at that game. No,
But that was in Miami. Where if Miami, if it hits 70 degrees, guess what? We're in sweatshirts.
Yeah, and they got that kindergarten old school touchdown song. Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins, Miami Dolphins #1.
So what, Jamie? Miami's won a Super Bowl more recently than you. Oh wait, Miami's actually won 2 Super Bowls. You haven't won any.
Yeah, you got to go. Yeah, but you got to go back to the undefeated 1972 Don Shula days. They're also. This is also the 25th year that they're either not going to make the playoffs or they have. It's been 25 years since they've actually won a playoff game, though. Craig Carton said that.
Well, the Bengals won 30 years.
Wow, man.
And now they're getting a $400 million renovation to their stadium. Woohoo!
Oh, okay. Let me think. Who am I gonna say? Ooh,
Ravens are getting a renovation too at M&T Bank Park.
let's get this spicy. Should I go Charles's quarterback or should I go my quarterback? Who says Trevor and who says Lamar?
I think
Trevor Lawrence is going to be very interesting.
He is. But so is Lamar. The knock on Lamar was you couldn't win a playoff game until he did. His playoff success is limited. But man, they're both interesting to me. I think
Lawrence is more interesting to me. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Lawrence is more interesting because we've seen improvement from this season to what he had. What Liam Cohen has been able to do is making more people convinced that Lawrence is the guy, the record that they have, what they've been able to do. So I think he's way more interesting. Lamar, I don't think there's any difference in what people think. He's good in the regular season. He's good enough to get his team to the playoffs. Can he go into the playoffs and be well enough to play and get them there? I don't think it's changed at all for Lamar.
So you think Lamar's like Dak?
I think is different.
So Lamar's like Dak or Cousins, a great regular season quarterback, but all bets are off.
He's better. He's better. He's a better quarterback than they are, like in general. But let's not go that far. But I would say, like, he's not done well in divisional round of championship Sunday. That's fair. I mean, that's not breaking news. I mean, he's got to do better actually in the games that matter, that'll actually get you to the Super Bowl. Whereas Lawrence hasn't really been there yet. Can he actually get better and take his team there? And I think that's an old truth.
I think both guys are.
And I think it's the same, as much as everybody argues with me about this, it's the same with Josh Allen. I'm sick and tired. People think Josh and Lamar are different. No, you're not. Josh has had the same problems. He's been somewhat better in the game. He's been better in the games, but he's out too. Like in the divisional round, conference round, same thing.
Yeah, but you got to admit though, with Josh,
he was going 2 against Burrow until this year.
But with Josh, so the reason why he's lost those big games hasn't been because of him. It's because he's had defenses that let Patrick Mahomes do what the hell they want with the minute left in the game. Lamar in the playoffs hasn't necessarily always put the Ravens in the spot to win.
Allen at least has, though.
Yeah, I think they're different, but I don't disagree with the majority of your argument there. And Lamar and the reason I was comparing him to like Kirk and Dak is, dude, you see some crazy things out of him in the regular season. He gets you a lot of wins in the regular season, but you're right. In the playoffs, he's different. And, well, that's like, and Josh, that's a good question because in the NFC, what about Baker Mayfield? Mayfield and Herbert, I think, are kind of the same in that regard. But, I mean, back to Dylan's question, I think both guys are interesting. I think for Lamar, he needs to take that next step to cement a Hall of Fame career, and he needs to get to a Super Bowl. When you look at what's going on in Jacksonville, Trevor Lawrence was really good a couple years ago when Peterson was head coach that first year. and they had a couple years where we're like, oh my God, this guy is terrible, and now all of a sudden he's good again with Liam Cohen. So he's kind of a little bit of a roller coaster. People kind of forget that. I mean, is he capable of winning a road playoff game? Yeah, against a couple teams I can see it, but I can't see him going up to Buffalo and winning. For instance, I don't see the Jaguars going to Buffalo with Trevor Lawrence and engineering a game-winning drive in the cold and snow.
Too.
Yeah, I mean, so from that aspect, no. But do I see Lamar being able to do that? Yeah.
Well, don't forget Lamar's in the same category as Allen. Is he's used to playing in that cold weather, though. That's the thing, just like Allen is.
And when you think about it, that's true maybe of like a lot of these warm weather quarterbacks. The only one who I'll give like an asterisk to is Baker. I don't think the weather matters to Baker Mayfield. Whether it's cold, whether it's hot, he's played in all of it in his career for long stretches. I don't think it matters. When it comes to Justin Herbert, I don't think he's going to win a game in Buffalo in January.
He did play. Well, don't forget, he was in Cleveland. When you're in Cleveland, you get all.
Right.
Baker,
well, yeah, that's like Baker's played in all of them.
Herbert was one. Well, Herbert was.
I think.
Guys, college football playoff first round begins this week. I know, Ken, you are not a college football fan, and I know you're pissed that you told me by one in Baltimore. So, but with Jamie and Charles, what's going to happen in the CFP? Because we've got games this weekend: Alabama, Oklahoma, Miami, A&M, Ole Miss and Tulane, James Madison, and Oregon. Who wins? And who ends up winning everything in Miami? Or as Linda Cohn would say back in the day, who wins the whole ball of wax?
I think Alabama definitely loses. I think Alabama's a fraud. I think DeBoer is going to hit the door and go to Michigan after this game too. So I definitely like Oklahoma. I think they're definitely, their offense, I think, is definitely that's the separation of these two teams. I think is funny. I don't even know why they're even a 9 seed as well. So I think that's really interesting as well. I'm not as convinced of other people as of Texas A&M either. Other teams seem to be convinced that Texas A&M. I've kind of watched them a couple times. I think Miami's pretty good. I'm kind of still too. I'm a little biased because I root for the ACC because Maryland spent so many years in the ACC. But I'm still not as convinced as Texas A&M. I think when they play a real defense, their offense isn't nearly as good. Ole Miss wins. I think they're pissed off at Lane Kiffin as well, and they're playing Tulane, which is decent enough team. And I think Oregon.
And they have a head coach who's going to go to Florida, or go to your Gators pretty soon. John Summerall for Tulane.
I mean, be honest with you,
yeah, I mean, this is right. Oregon by 2,000.
20. Hey, Josh. Are you old enough to make bets in your state right now? You don't look 16. You don't look 21.
He's in Pennsylvania. Remember that.
Well, I think he can. Well, I think that is.
He ought to have Adam do it for him because that's easy money. Like, man, that's.
Although James Madison's the P5 quarterback factory. You had Kurt said you had to go to Indiana. Now Bobby Chesney's going to UCLA, and now Sunbelt Billy Napier's going to be at James Madison now.
By the way, I think you all would agree with me that James Madison and Tulane don't belong in the playoff, but that's either near or there.
They broke their own rules. They're only supposed to have one group of 5 team in there, and they got 2.
That's because Duke ended up winning the ACC with 5 losses. But yeah, whatever. Who ends up winning the whole thing, Charles?
And I'm gonna say real quick. Notre Dame's acting like a bunch of 2-year-olds. That's
Join the
disgraceful.
conference.
This is the second time Florida State did the same thing a few years ago. They called out the ACC. Are y'all kidding me? Why are you mad
They
at
actually
them?
played in their bowl game, though. Notre Dame isn't.
For God's sake. But what did the ACC? I'm talking about the conference. Like, what are you yelling at them for? How's that their fault?
Why don't you?
For God's
Why,
sake, really?
why don't the Irish join a conference? For heaven's sake?
Because here's why, Dylan. This guy actually was playing college football 26, and he did like a 10-year simulation where he put Notre Dame into the ACC. And Notre Dame actually had a worse record overall in the 10-year period of the ACC when he did it there than they did as an independent. He didn't even win a national champion. He tried to put Ryan Day. He went through 4 different head coaches with Notre Dame being in the ACC, and he couldn't even win one with Ryan Day in the ACC.
Here's why I don't watch college football.
Of that.
This exactly exemplifies why I don't watch college football, because it's such a friggin' mess when it comes to deciding who's in the national championship playoffs, who's the national champion. You know, you got a couple years ago, Boise State goes undefeated. They're not even in the conversation as a D1 school to be national champs. Really? I think the whole way college football is run just makes it hard for me to be a fan of it, because
NFL is so much easier because you win, you lose. Guess what?
And there's so many less.
Yeah, but the 12-team playoff, it's a lot better than that crappy BCS that we had.
Which is better than the API top 25 poll deciding. I get it. I mean, the API top 25 poll deciding the champion was bad. The BCS wasn't exactly great. Is this new playoff better? Sure.
At least it's a real postseason. It's a playoff.
But no, it's not, because you still got teams who, like Notre Dame, who probably deserve a right to be in a playoff system to answer that question. You know, you've got teams that are still excluded because they're not an X conference, and there's still these political games played with it. And so, no, you're still not getting a true. I always look at the national championship of football for college as a joke, because you're not a true national champ. There were other teams that were denied even the right to play, even though they were undefeated. And there's always an excuse. Well, their strength of schedule. There's this. There's that. Like, no, no. None of that flies. There's never been a true national champion.
And it's disgraceful. And I'm going to say this, and I usually don't bang on them too much. The ESPN and Fox, just don't listen to them. They're so SEC biased, Big Ten biased. It's crap. What are you talking about?
How many teams are in the Big Ten right now? Aren't there like 30 teams in the Big Ten?
18 teams. SEC is not so much better than anything, but you never know it listening to them. So, the fact that in Notre Dame, that's just acting like 2-year-old. Crazy.
We have our own TV right deal with the Big Ten, or sorry, with NB. We did have we still technically do have our own TV rights deal with NBC, but we have to share with the Big Ten because you have Big Ten Saturday night now on NBC too.
And the Big Ten's no longer the Big Ten; it's the Big 18. I mean.
Why is it Notre Dame yelling at them? Because they're the reason. The SEC and the Big Ten are the reason. Why are you yelling at the ACC?
They were saying because
don't
forget ESPN controls the playoff, and we don't have a TV rights deal with ESPN. We have it with NBC.
Well, when you're Notre Dame, though, too, their schedule every year is so weird because they have to go to other schools and get other schools to agree to play them. And so when these other schools don't agree to play them, then the argument says, well, the strength of schedule wasn't that good. Well, it's not like they have a conference schedule that includes, all these big D1 schools, perennial favorite schools. They have to go out and get games, right?
We made it last year. We made a run to the final, which I thought was cool.
So, I mean, college, that's what I'm saying. To me, college football is fundamentally flawed in the way they do determine a national champion. And look, I get there's so many friggin' colleges. How do you do it? Well, maybe you need to do, like they do for basketball, 64-team tournament that's going to have to start earlier in the season. Like Maybe you have to start it on
68.
Thanksgiving. You start the tournament, and it goes through mid-January. There has to be.
I don't
I
think
got
they-
no problem
I
with
don't
James
think-
Madison.
I don't think football could do a 60.
I got no problem with James Madison
Yeah,
in
but,
Tulane.
I don't think football should do a 64 because there's player safety and everything. But basketball, you could do a 64.
Well,
because
you
don't
take
have
away.
to worry about guys tackling.
You have to shorten the you'd have to shorten the regular season somehow,
I think
right? In order to accommodate it. But you could do some kind of playoff.
I think there should have been playoff games the last 2 weekends because college football has got those weekends free, and yet for whatever reason didn't have the week playoff games till this weekend. And now we have 2 games that are going to be played on TNT because of the NFL doubleheader this weekend.
Yeah.
By the way,
TNT also does not have the NBA anymore. Remember that, so they're getting their hands on the college football more.
By the way, I will
And
have my
Army Navy usually plays by itself. It's usually the
Right.
Army Navy weekend and the Heisman. That's it.
well. But,
They're trying to get a piece. They're trying to get a piece of the pie of the successful ratings of college football in the playoffs because they don't have the NBA was such low hanging fruit.
But what
for
I'm
them
just
with
saying
the
is, like,
ratings, so they
the way the
dumped them.
current system's set, you get teams that are being excluded from even being in the conversation, and there's an argument for those teams to be in the conversation. So to me, they're still fundamentally flawed in how they decide a national champ. Even if you expand it out another week or two of playoffs, like maybe you get rid of like the Big Ten championship, the ACC championship in terms of like this mini tournament that it is within the conferences. Get rid of that. If you're the top team in the ACC, you get the bid to the national championship tournament.
Then maybe what the conference championship game turns into is like the first 4 games for March Madness, where the top 4 teams already in, the next 8 teams battle, and whoever wins that game gets a spot in the
Not
playoffs.
like the at large, like Notre Dame would always be like in the at large, right? They don't really have that big conference. But I mean, look at how many college football games do these kids play right now? Is it with the bowl games? They play what, 9 game season?
The bowl system, I think that bowl season's dying. I think a slow death now.
Oh,
because
but how many games does the average college football team play in a complete season now?
12.
12. There's no reason they can't go to 16.
I'm not against that though. Actually,
With the playoffs, yes.
They're doing about 16 if they win all their playoff games. Whoever wins it, that's 16 games, I think. Or 17, yeah.
So I mean, they should go. They need to make some adjustments to college football. I mean, I get that there's so many teams. I know I'm asking a lot, but every year there's teams that have a legitimate claim to be in the college football playoff that are excluded for whatever silly reason they come up with. Oh, with Boise State, well, their strength of schedule, guys are undefeated, and they won by big margins. And you're saying they shouldn't be in the conversation?
They were last year because the way it was last year, if you won a conference championship, you got a first round bye. But this year they changed it to straight seeding.
So
By the way,
Ole Miss loses the coach that had no bearing on their seeding. But
That's
Florida
weird.
State, we can't put them in because they lost their quarterback, even though they won without the quarterback.
That makes no sense.
That was a 14. Yeah, but that's why they went to the 12 because the 4 was the.
But that's the problem with college football.
They went to 12.
That's the problem with the college football playoff system and championship. There's too much politics and, well, we're going to exclude you because you lost your quarterback. We're not going to exclude you even though you lost your head coach. We're going to exclude you because we don't think your strength of schedule is that good. We're going to exclude you because you were the second best team in your conference, even though your team is much better than half the other teams that are in the playoff. There's so much politics and non-football related BS that determine who goes into the playoff. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay.
See, I agree with you with expanding the playoff and making it a 64 team thing, but in a perfect world, it's not going to happen because you have the people still gripe about the 68 team NCAA basketball team when their team doesn't get in. So they still gripe even with that.
All right, guys. All right, guys. All right. I'm gonna keep order in the courtroom. I've got an interesting question now.
You got teams.
In terms of legendary NFL stadiums, not college football stadiums, not stadiums in Europe, NFL stadiums only, which ones would you say would you theme legendary NFL stadiums?
Old Texas Stadium in Arlington.
No,
was
current
okay.
no
Lambeau, obviously.
current NFL stadiums, not stadiums that'll no longer being used or been torn down.
Lambeau.
Arrowhead, I think, first one for me.
The current Highmark Stadium before that gets demolished and they go to the new stadium. That's an iconic one.
That's why I didn't say that one, because that's about
The most iconic in the NFL right now is Lambeau. I hate to say it, but it's Lambeau.
Lambeau.
I think there are 3 stadiums that we could consider iconic NFL stadiums right now. And 2 of them are in the same division.
Soldier Field.
Yeah, Soldier.
Yeah,
Next
Soldier Field.
22, Soldier Field and Lambeau. The third one, I'll give you a hint. No one will think about it, but when I say it, you are gonna bang your heads.
Arrowhead?
Nope.
I said Arrowhead.
Nope.
I think of an older stadium. There aren't a lot.
So we said Soldier and Lambeau were the 2.
Yes.
What do you think here?
Heinz Field?
Nope.
That one's only 24 years old. That's not old enough to really be iconic. That was built in 2001, Heinz Field.
Yeah.
Nope.
Levi's new.
No.
Levi's new, Josh.
Yeah.
No, Josh said Levi, but that's new because that replaced Kansas.
Candlestick
Jackson.
Park, yeah.
You're not talking about your team, right? Jacksonville,
No,
that's
that
old.
stadium is
1995, since their expansion, that stadium's been around.
Yeah.
Carolina's
Carolina's old. That's about the same.
Do you want a hint?
Yeah, go ahead.
Carolina's is only 30 years old. That's from their expansion team, 95, their stadium.
Do you want a hint?
the Superdome is not.
Yeah, that's got to be it.
Superdome, right?
The Louisiana Superdome.
You're correct. Yes.
Darn you.
I have issue though with saying
they've given that place such a facelift that it looks modern now. Because look at what it looked like when it hosted the Super Bowl.
I went to a game in the Superdome 2 years ago. I saw the Bears play there. It was my first trip to the Superdome. I've been by the Superdome a lot because I've been to NOLA a lot, but I'd never seen a game there. And I'll tell you what, the experience of seeing a pro football game at the Superdome was actually really cool. The way they did things, being in the stadium. My son and I were up in the upper area, upper levels, and it was good seats. We were behind the end zone, up in the 600s, but it was a great atmosphere. The dome does get loud. The fans were great. Getting in and out of the stadium was actually really easy. I can understand the Superdome, plus a lot of great Super Bowls have been played there. My problem with Soldier Field being on the list is I went to games pre-spaceship. So I'm talking like 85. I went and saw the Bears in 85 there. I saw them in 84. I saw them in the 80s. And then around 2000, was it 2001, the spaceship landed, right? Was it 2002 we played at U of I? Or 2001, 2002 we played U of I. Maybe it was 2002 we played at U of I. So I went to one of the last games in Soldier Field as it was in 2001. Right? Yeah, it was fall 2001. I believe. And then when the new Soldier Field, the facade's the same, but it's like a spaceship landing. And it's funky. Interior-wise, it's really cool. They got the murals. It's a great atmosphere. The field playing surface looked good. You know, it sucks, but it looks good. But I have a problem with Soldier Field on it because it's like there almost be an asterisk. Like the facade, yes. The rest of the stadium, not so much. the facade is still the facade. It's iconic. But then when they landed the Super Bowl in the early 2000s, the spaceship in the early 2000s, for me, it kind of ruined it a little. You know what I'm saying? I haven't been to Lambeau yet. That's one of the places I've been meaning to go to. I just haven't gotten there yet. I've had a bunch of friends, obviously, who've been to Lambeau. They've all told me, great things about it. So I want to go see a game at Lambeau. But I've been to 2 of the 3. I would definitely agree on the Superdome. With Soldier, I kind of give it a little bit of an asterisk because there's Soldier Field pre-spaceship and post-spaceship. They were different.
I think Arrowhead too. I think is up there as far as being an iconic. I think of all the teams in the league, that's a sea of red. So many because of the finances of people nowadays. You see this team and this team and this team and this day. I watch a game in Arrowhead and I don't see whatever other team they're playing. I don't see any of that. They're all Chiefs fans. I
defend my honor though. I just think it's too bad. This is the last year. I mean, I'm excited obviously about the new stadium, but it's not going to beat the old Highmark Stadium was around for a long time.
Well, yeah, because in Buffalo, you get come on, every year we get the fans shoveling out the stadium and that kind of thing. But I mean, is Arrowhead the oldest stadium in the AFC right now?
I think
if it's not, it's got to be.
Arrowhead, I think, is older because it was the Bills. It was 1973, and remember the Chiefs were in the.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
remember, Arrowhead and Highmark were built because their AFL stadiums were too small.
And actually, you think about Arrowhead too. And Charles, great call, man. Because I think it should be in the top 3 somehow. Because, dude, I might be wrong, but I think it's the only stadium where the owner's living area, home, is built into the stadium. Like that stadium, it actually has a house in it that the Hunts lived in for a bit. Like the Hunts legit have a house, apartment, if you will, in that stadium. And then the other thing about Arrowhead, now this is outside of Arrowhead, but that whole tunnel cave system that the Chiefs have in Kansas City is just remarkable. Not many people know about it. This year. You saw some documentaries come out about it a little bit, and it came out a little bit. But if you guys don't know, there's a tunnel system underneath.
I'm aware of the whole thing
that the Hunts own, and their history is in a bunker below the city in this tunnel system. I mean, that to me is just like what other NFL franchise has that?
I think their baseball stadium is just as cool right next to it as well. Like as far as like it's built in the 70s, I think Royal Stadium, Kauffman Stadium, it's always been very
well for baseball. I mean, look, your top 2 got to be Wrigley, Wrigley and Fenway, and then after that, that's where maybe you could throw in KC, or you could throw in the Dodgers with Shea Ravine. But KC
baseball has more of that. Baseball, it's okay to keep those old stadiums like in that more than any other. More than NBA too. Like you got new arenas all the time. Like except for the Garden. Not anymore. That's a whole nother thing. But that's the Garden is probably the only one that's really been around since the 70s. Everything else, most of the stuff now has been around.
No, the Garden was built. When was the new Garden built? The new Garden was built not in the 70s. The new Boston Garden?
No,
Madison Square Garden.
Oh, Madison Square Garden. Okay, yeah, that Garden. Madison Square Garden, but yeah, it's been redone though interior wise so much it feels like every other one.
Madison Square Garden.
I mean, arenas. I mean, it's really hard to say with any arena. The character of the arenas are so.
1964.
I hate to say plain Jane, but they all feel the same. There's no distinctiveness anymore with the arena.
But they didn't used to. Like, and you just mentioned Boston Garden. That was different.
Yeah, Boston Garden, the old Chicago Stadium. Joe Louis in St. Louis and Joe Louis in Detroit. Funny that there was 2 Joe Louis arenas, at the time. What great places. I got to see hockey games at the old Joe Louis Arena in St. Louis. And that was an interesting stadium to watch a hockey game at. Let me tell you, it was a great character to it. Same with the old Madhouse on Madison. Same with some of these older stadiums. And then you got weird ones like Atlanta. Like that arena there is the most peculiar. Half the stadium looks like you're watching an episode of Hollywood Squares. The way it's set up. I mean, it's so weird. But I guess with that one, it's kind of on the list because it's such an absurd arena inside. Have you guys seen the arena in Atlanta?
Yeah,
it's literally split in half. So you can only get to half the arena through 2 entry points, which are gated, which you have to show tickets. You can't walk a whole arena like you can most arenas. And then you go to that arena, basically where the second, third tier is on one half. It's just a straight wall of suites. It looks like the Hollywood Square.
And yeah, they're all kind of designed for rich people to be comfortable.
Right, now, on one half.
There's
so you've got the rich half of the arena and the poor half of the arena. Literally. It's fun.
They're all kind of that's what I'm saying.
It's
Boston
so
Garden,
strange.
the air conditioning didn't even work during the
I saw the Thrashers play the Islanders in Atlanta before the Thrashers moved to Winnipeg. And it was funny because half the stadium was full. The other half was completely empty. Legit, you could take a line down the center, and you're looking at, let's say, from the one goal, you're looking straight across the ice. On the left, the entire side of the stadium to the rafters is full. You look at the other half, which is all the luxury seating, it was virtually empty. You could be on the glass for $100 on the left side. The same seat across the ice was $600 for the same exact seat. It was like that. So that arena is a little different. That arena I'd put in a list just because it's so absurd.
Dylan, we just saw Dylan. I just saw Dylan right before I went on, get his big job now where he can afford those very expensive tickets. But the rest of us, man, we got to.
After it wasn't a job, I got a digital marketing certificate from South Florida, so hopefully that leads to a more successful career. But it's quickly top 5 NFL power rankings. I will start because Ken will probably kill me. Number 5, they have finally made the list. I have debated and I'm not being chased by any grizzly bears. The Bears are number 5 on my list. Houston number 4. Seattle number 3. LA number 2, that being the Rams, and number 1, the Denver Broncos. Bear.
I'm happy you finally saw the light with putting the Bears in the top 5.
Otherwise, you would have killed me.
Yeah. I have no problem with the Broncos being in the list, actually, especially after they just beat the Packers. I have no problem with the Rams being – look, the Rams and the Broncos are the only 2 teams that have clinched. They're in the top 5. Just forget about it. They're in the top 5. After that, I'm going to go with the Bears. I'm going to go with the Jaguars. And I'm going to go with the team that's getting hot at the right time, Buffalo Bills. That's my top 5.
You 2 knuckleheads.
I'll start as the first knucklehead. All right, so I'll go top down. I got the Rams 1. Rams are really good. They've been really good. I think the defense is outstanding too. I think the names you don't know. I think the only reason the people aren't talking about it because they only have Pro Bowl on that side as well. Broncos, I think too. Bo Nix is great in the fourth quarter, guys. Bo Nix is good when it matters. He's not good the whole game, but he's good in the fourth quarter. So definitely there. I got to put the Bills ahead of the Patriots, so they're 3 and 4 because the Bills did win. Josh Allen's just a thoroughbred, man. he's just that's what I saw. He just willed that one as well. New England, I'm gonna drop him a bit because I think New England is still pretty good. They still may have the number 1 seed overall as well. And number 5, I'm gonna say Chicago. I think I might have said Green Bay, but the Parsons injury, that's not gonna work. That's not gonna work. They can't. That's bad.
And with the Rams,
they brought him in for a reason, and that's bad.
Before we get to Jamie, I know all three of us put the Rams in our top 5, and the only thing that I worry about the Rams, I still think even without them, they're in that top 5. But Devontae Adams, depending on how much time, if any, he misses, could significantly impact them being a top 5 team.
I don't even know about that.
It's like it's Puka between the 20s and then Devontae in the end zone. And so now if you change that formula up, I don't know how much that changes them, but it could, if it's close enough, it could create a difference. But that's the only caveat.
I think Puka Nacua is the best receiver in the league. I'd want him more. I mean, he's sensational. Like as good as Devontae Adams is, but he's number 1. So I don't think they're gonna. It may hurt him a little bit, obviously, because he's really good, but I don't think it'll do too much.
Let's see what Jamie's. Jamie, show us what you got.
Okay, let's see. Top 5 power rankings, right? Let's see. Number 5. I got the Rams.
What?
Sorry, never mind. I changed it. Number 5, I'll say Jacksonville. Leon Coleman Magic, baby. I'm riding that bandwagon. 4, New England. 3, Buffalo. 2, let me say 2. I'm going to say the Denver Broncos. 1, the LA Rams.
Okay.
Was it an all AFC list? Jeez, except for the Rams.
I know who my MVP is. Other than Matthew Stafford, Kelly.
I was good. By the way, I've got one for you.
She's my MVP.
Who is the leading contender for Coach of the Year? Without any bias.
I think there are 3. And you're looking at the 3 first-year head coaches who we all 3 have put, almost all of us have put at least all 3 of them, or at least 2 of them, in their top 5 power rankings.
Ben Johnson, Liam Cohen, and Mike Vrabel.
Yep. All those are your 3.
What about Kyle Shanahan? What about Kyle?
Kyle Shanahan, did you say?
I say Kyle Shanahan. That team has no business in the playoffs. They have no business. They've had injuries all year long. I mean, their whole defense they're missing like 6 or 7 starters on defense. They're missing
but with the other 3
are off. Like they've got no business in the playoffs, and they're going to coast in.
How many games did the Pats win last
4,
year?
13, yeah.
They won 4. How many games did the Jaguars win last year?
4.
And how many did the Bears win?
5.
And all those teams are going to be 10, 11, or 12 win teams. Those head coaches are definitely in that conversation.
Right.
And look, if you end up in a situation, let's say the Bears get the number 1 seed, and let's say the Pats get the number 1 seed, 2 of those coaches took their teams from worst in their division to the number 1 seed in their conference. Dude, that's where it's going to be a battle between those guys. I think those 3 first-year head coaches, those 3 brand-new head coaches in those franchises, with such a dramatic turnaround, that they're the 3 big talk. Kyle Shanahan, he's in the conversation, but he gets lost in the shuffle because okay, yeah. I mean, bubble gum and duct tape, but you kind of expect them to be able to do that.
I agree. It'll be Mike Vrabel. That's who I think it's going to be. If it's me, I'm taking Kyle Shanahan. And I understand that argument you made, but those are good teams. Like
they're good teams now. Really they weren't last year.
But Kyle Shanahan doesn't. But Kyle Shanahan doesn't have. He hasn't had his quarterback most of the season. He hasn't had. He's had injuries at wide. His top two receivers have been out a lot of the season. A lot of his offensive line has been banged up. He's missing a lot of starters on defense still.
Why I would call him a dark horse candidate, but he'll get overshadowed by the other three because of what they've done with shitty teams. Whereas the Niners were a good team. We didn't expect the Niners to be that good, but we didn't expect them to be a 3-win team either. I mean, your argument's not bad because you're right. Purdy's been out almost the whole year. He had to go back. I mean, but backup came in and all of a sudden, oh, well, he's good again. So, the defense, yeah, I agree with everything you've said, but it's going to be Vrabel or Ben Johnson, most likely, because everyone forgets about Jackson. It's going to be Vrabel or Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson was the belle of the ball. Vrabel was the first one hired. I think it goes between the two of them. And at the end of the day, it'll probably be Vrabel because, well, he's an East Coast team, and we know there's a bias to the East Coast. So,
I don't think that's the reason now. I don't think it's the East Coast.
Yes, the Bears are still underdogs this week without Micah Parsons playing for Green Bay. Oh, yeah.
I think if Ben Johnson winds up with a better record than Vrabel does, I think there's certainly an argument. I think
Ben Johnson, here's part of that argument. Since they're the number one offense in the NFL, they're the number one in the NFL in creating turnovers. Those are two massive stat categories that helps to be number one in. I mean, and they've dealt with injuries too. Defensively, we haven't had all our starters for even one game. We had them for maybe one game.
I think I'm gonna head out, guys. Spunky Spectrum Sports at Dylan S Sports 1. See you guys. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Go eat all the pizzellis, all the Christmas cookies you want. Wish you all the best. And you know what? Maybe we end up in the AFC Championship game. Bills Ravens, Ravens Jags, Jags Bills. Or maybe the Bears in an NFC Championship game.
The playoff picture is going to be this weekend. I think this weekend solidifies the playoff picture. It's not that this is the earliest I've seen so many teams be eliminated. I think by the end of this week we know what's what overall.
Wait a minute. Who did?
Wasn't me.
Not me.
Can't be me. Oh, Jamie, can you fix us on the bottom there? Fix it so we're not 3 little dots on the side. Or Rav, Charles, if you can. You should be able to fix the layout because you guys have the regular login ID.
How do we do that? Oh, right.
Below us,
right,
you should see the layout.
There we go. Got it.
But going back to what Charles was saying, though, I mean, there is a bias, man. I mean, there's definitely a bias in this team. Vrabel will get it because it's New England. They hate Chicago. I mean, we see the anti-Chicago bias in everything sports related. It doesn't. There's an anti-Chicago bias. Vrabel will probably get it, but you can make an argument, a strong argument, for Ben Johnson with number one rushing offense in the league. He's done more to that team than Vrabel probably had to do to New England, but Vrabel will probably get it. They both had weak schedules. New England had the weaker of the two. But yeah,
Ben Johnson might be the best coach in the league. I mean, you're not going to get me to say that he's not. I mean, like when I do my top 10 list, top 10 coaches, I mean, I think Ben Johnson needs to seriously be in consideration for that right now. I mean, so I'm not arguing that. I just think when you have an award like that, the better record will win out, and Vrabel has the best record. I don't think it's because
but they also had a weaker schedule.
Bias.
They had a weaker schedule. They did have a weaker schedule.
Yeah, but they were in last place.
Well, so were the Bears.
That's why they had a weak schedule. The Bears are in a tougher division.
we
So
didn't get the Jets
that's why
twice.
they were tough.
We didn't get the Jets twice. You know what I'm saying? I mean, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's I think there's a lot of politics in that award, but I think the 3 coaches that get looked at are going to be the 3 first-year head coaches who all have their teams going to the playoffs. Or Jacksonville's close; they're not in yet. But Jacksonville, I mean, they're a 10-win team. The Bears are a 10-win team. The Pats are 11-win team right now. Yeah, I mean, those are your 3 guys, man. Those are your 3 guys that you're looking at for coach of the year, probably, to be honest.
Liam Cohen's a terrific coach too. Liam Cohen's
He
a
is.
terrific coach.
And
I
he
think
gets-
it's kind
and
of
he
the
gets-
same. I do think you're probably more right with him. I think Jacksonville just goes under the radar more, and I think you see them less on a national level, etc. So I think that's more of an argument there. I've
The
never
MVP
bought the whole East Coast bias.
Is the MVP
never-
race down to 2 quarterbacks? Is it down to Allen and Stafford?
I think
Is that the
Stafford
whole
for
race
me.
right now?
I think for me, Stafford's the MVP. Yeah, I do think it's the 2 quarterbacks. I do think it's Allen is there. I think Drake May kind of blew his shot there. I think I think like had they been able to win that game, I think he'd still be there. But but Josh Allen's just a whole nother level. I mean,
I think Caleb was in the
he's
conversation.
just a thoroughbred through and through.
I
never saw somebody with as much talent as John Elway had until I saw
If
Josh Allen.
Caleb would have connected for a touchdown that Green Bay game instead of interception, I think there'd be a pretty strong case for him. But you know what though, Josh Allen's had some games where he was. Stafford's been the most consistent of the 2, but I think it's a 2-dog race. I think it's Stafford and Allen, and it's rare to get repeats. I mean, Rodgers did it, but I could see it going to Stafford. I so could see it going to Stafford. Better record. Once again, the better record.
I want to talk for a few seconds about Phillip Rivers. I want to talk for a few seconds about Phillip Rivers because on my channel I cover big 5 games, 5 big games that are not Raven games. And how shocked were you how good he was in this? I was really surprised how good he was.
I wasn't completely.
Wasn't fantastic, but he just really came off the couch, literally.
Well, yeah, but he did and he didn't. I mean, look, he's coaching high school football about 30 miles. He's throwing the rock around at practice with his kids. He's sitting in the weight room with his kids. It's not like he retired and just sat on the couch. He's hitting the weight room. He's doing football activities, granted at the high school level, but he was doing some type of football activity. I mean, I don't think he was 100% there yet, but man, I said on the morning show on Sunday, we have the Red Zone rant, and I commented on there. I said, look, the upset of the day could be Phillip Rivers winning, and they all laughed, oh, you're delusional, this, that, and the other. Yet that game came down to the very end of the game and trading field goal. And Rivers put them in a position to win. I mean, seriously, if the Colts defense could have held the line.
And he played better than Darnold did.
Yeah. So, I mean, and look, the Colts aren't out of it yet. The Colts still have a pathway, even though it's a lot harder now. But I wasn't completely shocked. I mean, the dude mentally is there. The physical, I knew he wouldn't be there totally physically, but I didn't think he'd be like, I've been on the couch eating Doritos and drinking beer bad body-wise. You knew he did something with it, because he's been doing football activities, at least as a coach, to some degree. Mentally, you knew he'd be there. Though what perplexed me even more, though, was just the fact that you are a semifinalist to go in the Hall of Fame this year. And now you pushed your clock back 5 more years to try this. I mean, dude, that's just crazy. But you know what, though? I don't think he hurt his chances.
He gets his pension and insurance and all that for a lot longer now. He beat the clock, so now because it was about to run out, and now he gets to keep going because he just played.
Well, there's that, but I don't think he hurt his Hall of Fame chances with this game. I think he may have helped it. As good as he looked,
no,
I think he might have helped his chances in the future. more than hurt it.
It'll help a lot. It'll help a lot because now his name is back out there. Now he's not forgotten. Now there's another group of people that have seen him play.
If by some miracle if he gets into the playoffs, and God forbid he wins a playoff game, oh God, he's a surefire. Now here's a question.
To me, I don't think there's a question anyway.
Does he come back?
I mean, the only thing, no. I'm not saying no because he's not capable. I don't think he wants to. He's doing his high school season is over. Like you said, he's a little bit away. He's, why not? Why not come in here, play these 4 or 5 games, or maybe go into the playoffs, whatever. You saw this a couple years ago with Eric Waddle. They brought him out of retirement. Okay, you know everything. We'll just play a couple games and that's it. So I don't think that he has any delusions of playing a whole full NFL season, unless he wants to sit the bench. But I don't think he has even the desire to do that. I will say this. This is what we have to do. I mean, you gotta get Phillip Rivers out of retirement to go ahead. I mean, what? Why not just get Troy Aikman or Tom Brady or Tony Romo out of the booth, for God's sake?
Well, why not get Derek Carr?
I'm just more. My point is, like, where are the quarterbacks to really? We got a poor quarterback draft possibly this year in Mendoza.
Yeah, Manning's staying in college.
Manning's going to stay.
Lenore Sellers is staying too.
Sellers is staying. Kubiak,
well, because if you look at the draft, you're going to go look at.
It's not a lot there.
If you're a top quarterback and you've got another year of eligibility, and you're looking at the draft and you're saying, of the top 10 teams in the draft, 2 need a quarterback, probably for sure. The Jets and the Raiders. So you're going to either go to the New York Jets or the Vegas Raiders. If you're a Manning, you're like wrong New York. One is the wrong New York team, and I'm surprised he would say no to Vegas with Tom Brady being there. But interesting fact on Manning: if he goes in the first round, when he finally goes in the draft, he'll be the 4th Manning to be drafted in the first round. The 4th. Grandpa was drafted in the number 2 overall. His 2 uncles were in the first round, and then he will be a first rounder. That is just insane.
And I could say this: you ever seen Peyton Manning's son throw a football? I mean, he was at the draft. Marshall Manning throw a football. I mean, he was throwing balls. I mean, I'm not kidding. Those things looked like NFL player was throwing. He was
Where's he at the grade wise?
It doesn't matter, dude. He'll be drafted. I mean, unless
no. I'm saying like where's he at in terms of school? Like,
how old is he now? Oh, he's like in 9th grade or something. So I think he's still got a few years away.
So he could be the 5th Manning.
Oh yeah,
he could be the 5th Manning that'll go in the first round. That's insane.
Arch is not ready to start in the NFL. I think he could be. I think there was way too much hype, but Arch is there. Arch is going to make $8 million. Arch is probably going to be the highest paid player in all of college football.
Dude, he's got a national ad campaign.
Yeah, he's already got a national ad
campaign right now.
He's going to be
how many college football players have a national ad campaign right now?
Yeah, I mean, so that's I think Mendoza goes to the Jets, and there are going to be a lot of teams need a quarterback. I mean, Tennessee's talking about moving off Cam Ward, but for what? Who's there? There's nobody. Yeah, there's nobody to take.
Yeah, Cam Ward's not their issue.
I mean, Cleveland's talking about bringing back Deshaun Watson. That tells you all you need to know. I mean, that's just.
Look, if you look at the bottom team, the Giants aren't drafting a quarterback. Dart's going to be their guy. The Titans have Cam. Vegas needs a quarterback. Arizona, there has been some scuttlebutt that they might move on, but they'll probably keep the Keebler out. The Browns, good question, but I think a lot of people think Shador is going to be their guy. The Jets will probably get a quarterback, which I feel sorry for Justin Fields in a way. The Commanders don't need a quarterback. The Saints don't need a quarterback. The Bengals don't need a quarterback.
No. Saints need a quarterback.
They like this kid.
Shout is better lately, but I don't think they can pass.
The Falcons aren't going to draft a quarterback. Minnesota's not going to draft a quarterback. The Dolphins.
Minnesota's not going to. Well, now stop again.
Not in the first round.
Minnesota's not going to draft a quarterback.
They're not. Well, no. when I say not drafting a quarterback, I mean they're not looking for a guy to replace JJ this year in the draft. They're not taking a guy in the first round. The Dolphins aren't looking to replace Tua in the first round. They might take a guy in the third round, maybe late second round, but they're not looking for a new starter next year.
I'd argue with you with three of those. Minnesota definitely needs to start looking. In Miami, that's a little more arguable, depending on if they get a new coach.
They love JJ. I think. Look, I agree with you. Look, I don't disagree with you, but I talk to Vikings fans daily. Vikings fans are like, nah, they're going to give JJ another year. So next draft, when Arch does come out, that might be the draft if JJ doesn't show that he's the guy. Because right now it's like, yeah, but he hasn't played that many games. It's exactly, he's not durable. He's not a durable NFL quarterback. And in fact, I think Washington, depending on how next year goes, the Commanders might be looking for a quarterback. Whereas all the hype Jaden Daniels gets, he's not durable. And what I don't get is why GMs don't think that this guys who have injury issues in college are all of a sudden not going to have injury issues in the NFL at any position. I don't care what they just always, if you're not durable in college, you're not going to be durable in the NFL.
Certain teams may not have a choice.
So it's going to be interesting.
Certain teams just may not have a choice. Minnesota, I think, would be looking for a quarterback if they were picking first. They're not going to be picking first. They're going to be picking in the middle of the round. And no, there's no chance. So you got to put your arm around JJ anyway. That's kind of what you're hearing. That's kind of what some teams do. Arizona's looking for a quarterback. New Orleans,
if you look at the top three
absolutely
picks as they are today, the top three are the Giants, the Titans, and the Raiders. Well, the only team of those three that are probably drafting a quarterback in the top in that, right there is Vegas.
Vegas is absolutely looking for.
Tennessee just drafted.
I kind of put this video together too. There are teams that would do it if they could do it, but you can't say that if you think it's unlikely. If
Arizona's picking at 4, if Arizona's at 4, do they move on from Kyler Murray and draft a quarterback?
Well, I think Murray's gone regardless.
So there might be your other quarterback. Cleveland might say, hey, we're going to give Shedeur Sanders a year. And then the Jets are stuck right now without a quarterback again, so they have to go with Justin.
Shedeur shout I kind of put in the same category. I don't know if they've done enough. I think that's a little more likely because, again, I don't think you're going to be high enough to get a quarterback. But they should have had Shedeur in there anyway the whole time. Doesn't make any sense. Why wasn't he in there anyway? That like you wasted a whole year. Like you would know by now if he just started week 1 if he was any good. Now you still kind of don't even know.
Education that they were lacking certain educational pieces of being NFL ready that they need to get throughout the season. I mean, so I think with all these young quarterbacks, with Shedeur, with JJ, with Cam, they're going to get a full season next year before teams move on. Kyler Murray may be looking for a new home. I think Justin Fields is looking for a new home. He doesn't cost them much to get rid of, and they've already benched him. So I think Justin needs to rebrand himself now as a quarterback, but more of a Swiss Army knife kind of guy.
Kyler Murray's going to be starting somewhere else, and Matt Jones, anywhere else.
He'll be a backup.
Kyler Murray,
yeah, he'll be a backup.
I think he's going to be the top guy that teams want that don't get a quarterback in the draft.
So what, Nola?
Something like that, yeah. Something like that. Some team like New Orleans or New York or somewhere like where they can't, where if you don't get the number 1 pick, you're looking at a Kyler Murray. I think Mac Jones is going to be the bridesmaid there. Mac Jones, I think, is probably done. Now I don't know if that's a good idea, like Kyler Murray, but I think Mac Jones probably, and also too, he'll be less expensive.
What if Mac Jones went to the Jets? Wouldn't that be interesting if Mac Jones went to the Jets?
That will not work.
That would be interesting.
That will not work. I think like Mac Jones is Kyle Shanahan can make anything look good. Kyle Shanahan, it doesn't matter who it is.
What if Mac Jones went to the Vikings to be the backup there for JJ? And if JJ doesn't work, Mac Jones just takes over.
Who? Mac Jones. Who?
And the
Mac
Colts.
Jones. Who?
And look at the Colts need a quarterback because Indiana Jones is going to miss probably the first half of that season, or at least the first part of that season with that Achilles. So Mac Jones, could you imagine if you have Jones in Indy?
I think there are and I think Colin Murray there too. That's exactly what Chris Ballard would do, provided that they don't fire him, which they should. But that's exactly something like a veteran quarterback like Chris Ballard. That's Chris Ballard written all over.
We're almost at 2 hours here. I don't know how long you guys want to go. Because me, I can go as long as you want.
No, I got to go here. Go ahead.
Let me ask this real quick before we go, because we got big games this week. Here are the teams that are still in the hunt that don't currently have a playoff position. Okay. And I want you to tell me who is officially eliminated from the playoffs after this week. So in the AFC, you've got Baltimore and Indy are on the outside looking in right now. Right? Which team gets eliminated from playoff contention this weekend? Or neither?
The Ravens won't be eliminated because I think they'll still be in it because I think they could still win the division. The Steelers-Lions game is huge for them, depending on what happens. So I don't think the Ravens will be eliminated.
Okay, what about Indy?
I think Indy's probably more likely to be eliminated because I don't think they win any more games. I don't think they win any more games. I think they could be eliminated.
And I don't think they play the Texans. They play the Texans to find. Yeah, they got the Niners, the Jags, and the Texans. So that's going to be interesting. And the NFC, the Panthers don't know counts. It's either going to be Carolina or Tampa. Whoever wins that division gets in. The other two teams that are on the outside looking in are Dallas and Detroit.
Oh, yes, we are.
Yes, they are. So do the Lions and the Cowboys get eliminated this week?
All right.
Is the NFC set at the end of games on after this week as far as who's in?
I think it's more simple in the NFC. I don't think Dallas gets in. I don't think the Lions get in. I don't think the Lions get in. I think the Lions are going to I think the Lions are going to lose one of their last. They're going to lose one of their last three. I think they get in. I don't know. I do believe they'll beat Pittsburgh, but I'm not so sure about the Lions.
Interesting scenario in the NFC. If the seeds stay as they are, if the Bears are the 2 seed, here's what I hate how this works. As a 7 seed or as a 2 seed, we get the 7 seed. The Bears will host either Green Bay if Green Bay gets in. So it means we'll have played them 3 times in 6 weeks. Or if Detroit somehow overtakes Green Bay and gets in, we'll play them in Week 18 and then the very next week in the playoffs, back-to-back games at home. I hate that.
I think it's fine if you know, because you could kind of not. That's almost a thing where you could kind of not show too much or do too much in those games. I think that's fine. I think if you don't know, that kind of sucks because then you can't really. You get them a free shot to look at you.
Yeah, especially if you're playing for the number 1 seed. You're playing for the number 1 seed and then maybe kick them out so the Packers get in, but then the Packers screw up and lose to the Vikings and the Rams once they retain their number 1 seed. And now even though you won, you kind of, it's just kind of like.
I don't know if that helped Detroit last year when they had to do that with Minnesota in the last game. I think that kind of hurt them.
It just kind of.
They won, but it just.
Yeah, then you get the whole thing. Does the bye kill your momentum? Does the bye week kill your momentum? Is it a good thing or a bad thing? That's an argument for another day. Because we're running.
That's good for young teams. I think it's bad. Well, it's bad for young teams that haven't been there, like Kansas City.
It's good if you have injuries. It's good if you have a lot of injuries, maybe. But what does it do to momentum? That's a discussion we can have another day. Because we're almost at 2 hours. I know you guys don't want to be up here all night talking.
All right, so go ahead, tell us, Ken, where the people can.
So right now you can get me at Talking Sports 18 on X. You'll see it as Ken the Bear Fan 2. Because in over 3 weeks since my account's been hacked, I've had, you ready? Guess how many replies I've had that were not automated responses from customer support.
I saw the
exactly
video.
0.
I saw the video. Yeah, I saw your video on Rumble. Yeah,
So it's still 0
ridiculous.
as of today. So you can catch me at Talking Sports on 18 on X. That's where I'm at now. I'm not blue checked there yet. I may eventually put it on. You can catch me on the Huddle Sports Network stuff. Right now we're on JB's kneecap biting with Jeremy B on his YouTube, and my YouTube, Ken the Bear Fan, which I don't post as much except for the Tuesday show there. But you can catch all my shows on my X at Talking Sports 18 on X. Everything that I'm on, I find a way to pipe it in there one way or the other. This show is there right now via Adam. So, and all my other shows are there via Rob, until I actually blue check it. So that's where you can catch me. Bears, we have a big game Saturday. I say the Bears are going to end the Packers there, and we're going to show the haters wrong again. So I got the Bears over the Packers. I've got the Ravens winning this week, and I've got Pittsburgh beating Detroit. And you know what? I'll even throw. I don't even care who they're playing. I'm going to give the Bills a win. So that's where. And even though Dylan's gone, wait, is that who the Jags play this week?
I don't know. Off the top of my head, I don't know.
No, the Bills play Cleveland.
Yeah, so the Bills are going to win. And you know what? Let me see if I can give the Jags a win this week. Let me see if I can give all the panel members a win this week.
Mm-hmm.
They play the Broncos. Ooh, that's going to be a good game. So yeah, that's where I'm at.
Jags and Broncos.
Yeah, Broncos Jags is going to be good. So I'll watch that one. But yeah, enjoy your football this week. And don't forget, you can catch me tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Central on Ken and Ken.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And this week on the Ravery Sports Podcast, we're going to be talking about, obviously, the game that's coming up this Sunday against New England. That's been flexed to Sunday Night Football. We're going to recap last week's game, the win over Cincinnati. Also, too, Big Five, we're going to talk about a couple games. Definitely the whole Phillip Rivers thing had my attention all of a sudden last week. So that was awesome. Maybe because I'm getting old, so that had my attention, like watching them play football. Army Navy recap. We're going to be talking about that. The wrong answer. We had a Navy victory. That's the wrong answer as well. And going to talk about MLB free agency, not just the Orioles signing Pete Alonso and Ron Halsey in free agency. We're going to talk about all the moves. Looks like the Dodgers aren't so dominant this year as well.
The Cubs aren't doing anything.
They have a good team. They didn't need to do as much as the Orioles. Go ahead, Jamie.
And now it's time for the shortest outro in all of podcasting. Jamie Malloy. Take it away, Jamie.
Okay, so you guys can follow me, yours truly, at Bill's Chat 1, at Bill's Mafia Chat, and also at Jamie Malloy, the unbiased journalist, at DJ Dog Tags on X, and theforkball.com, where I write about all sports. You guys can also catch me here on Driving to the Top Productions every Tuesday night at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, where Joe Dalio and I co-host the Buffalo Sports Conversation Room, where we talk all things Buffalo Bills and other NFL news. You can catch that at 8 o'clock p.m. on Driving to the Top. And then every Tuesday, an hour later, 9 o'clock p.m., you can catch me, Ken the Bears Fan, Jeremy, Rav, and the boys on Driving to the Top, or on the Open Sports Mic on Driving to the Top Productions at 9 o'clock p.m. You can check that out too on Driving to the Top Productions. And every Wednesday night at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, you can catch Ken, Jeremy, me, and all the wonderful crew at the Huddle Sports Network for another NFL Roundtable Talk. And then starting next Thursday in March, we're going to be doing season 3 of what's been a wild off season of the UFL so far. And if we get that season going, the Mike Rapole era, that's going to be with me, Jeremy, and Adam and Marcus. Catch that out in starting in March. Thank you guys very much for listening. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like, comment, and ring the bell for all notifications. And for more content on NFL news and sports news on Driving the Top Production, you can visit our YouTube page, Facebook stream, Twitch stream, X stream, wherever you get your podcast. For all of us here at Driving to the Top Productions, I'm Jamie Malloy, and this has been another episode of Open Mic Sports Night. See you next Tuesday, folks. Good night, everybody.